everybody, this is Michelle with Creative Operation Country Craft Creations. Today we have a walkthrough and a tutorial for you. I have made my Let's Create project planner, and the cool thing about this planner is that it's giant and huge and can fit all kinds of stuff in it. You can mix and match, you can take stuff out, you can put stuff in. It is a really cool planner. This is made with Echo Park's Let's Create. So this is my design team project using this package. I did use most of it, so I don't have a whole lot to use to do anything else, except for I think I might be able to squeak out a couple cards out of it. But for the most part, I used what I got in my design team haul that I did do a tutorial or a video on. I decorated it very simply because this is meant to be a working notebook. This is meant to be a project planner. I've got a lot of projects going on, and I thought when I saw this paper, I was like, that's what I need to do. I need to create a crafty project planner, something to keep my stuff in. You could use this for a bunch of different things. You could use wedding paper and make this a wedding planner. You could use recipe paper and make this a recipe book. It's big enough to hold 8.5 by 11 printouts from your printers. So, you know, it's huge. There's a bunch of different kinds of pockets in here. I'm going to show you about the dies that I bought for like slot pockets that I finally was able to use, and I used it on this project and how I did that. But let's go through real quick. Again, this project planner can be used for all sorts of things. I mean, it's just the possibilities are endless. But when I saw the design of the paper, Let's Create by Echo Park, I just knew this is exactly what I wanted to do. So I decorated it very, very simply and very flat because, again, it's meant to be a workable planner. So you'll notice on the front, I did have some Prima flowers from my design team package, and I ended up tearing out the middles because they were so big and bulky, and I tore out the centers, and then I replaced them with some buttons that I got from the design team package. So these are by Country Craft Creations. The twine is Country Craft Creations as well. These little leaves came with the flowers, but I wanted to be very, you know, flat because I'm going to use it. I'm going to write in it, and I'm going to add stuff to it and you know, use it as a notebook. So let me show you what's inside. So the cover's very simple. I did punch holes and set eyelets in the covers on the front and the back, and then I used book rings from my stash. These are big book rings. In the tutorial, I actually used some smaller ones, but as I kept coming up with ideas and adding things to it, I needed more room. So this book has absolutely everything that I made in the tutorial in it, so you can mix and match and pick and choose and do whatever you want to do and make it as skinny or as, you know, fat and chunky as you want. So when you open up the cover, I did use some lightweight chipboard. You have our slot pocket here. Let me double check, make sure. Yep, I am in frame. So I used the die Heartfelt Creations, put it out, and it was purchased from Country Craft Creations, and it's a really cool die to make slot pockets and then also to make a decorative edge that helps reinforce those pockets on the pattern paper. I have an old cuddle bag, and it wasn't wide enough to fit this particular piece of pattern paper in to do the slots, but I'm going to show you in the video how I adapted. But it was big enough definitely to run this through my die machine. I decorated them simply with a few tags from the paper collection. I did get the tags and frames ephemera packs. I did use some of that throughout the book on different things, but again, kept it very, very flat. I went on Scrapbookers of Country Craft Creations Facebook page. Tamara had put out these planner pieces for a project that she did, and I just thought it was perfect to just not only to use, but to show you how it fits in this notebook, and it's really cool. I just printed them on letter size paper, and there you go. So I will have a link to that, but you have to be a member of Scrapbookers of Country Craft Creations on the Facebook page in order to get access to that. But there's lots of different planner pages online. I printed out a couple things, and I will have links for a calendar and some planner pages that I found for free on the internet. And so I'll have links to those I'll show you. But this one, you have to be on Scrapbookers. So anyways, these pockets here, I just put the tags in nice and simple. I created, and this is not a new idea, but this is a magazine holder idea that you could buy these things and, you know, put magazines in a 3-ring binder. I had this sketchbook notebook, and I thought, well, I'm going to make one to add a sketchbook to my notebook. So I'm going to show you how to make that. I did actually make 2 of them, but I don't have a notebook in the other one. Really easy and really sturdy, and it's almost like you know, adding an elastic to your travel journal. So decorated it very simply with some die cuts on the back here, and on the front I just did some pattern paper pieces and then another die cut there, backed on artisan cardstock. I used black throughout. So then the pockets, there are several different kinds of pockets, but the main sets, there's 3 pages, and they all kind of mirror each other in a way. So the front page set that has the 3 staggered pockets on it is the same as the back. So again, you can mix and match and do whatever you want. I'll show you how to make those. So this is really super simple. So you end up having 1, 2, 3 pockets on each page. So you can kind of sort a project into different, you know, different categories or different, you know, phases, whatever you want. So I have 2 of those. I use a sticker up here, one of the die cuts here, backed on artisan cardstock. Just real nice and simple. This is meant to hold, you know, like a huge project, a couple smaller projects. It can hold so much. So then I went and did like a peachy style page set. You remember peachies from back in the day? I did a page pocket like that, and it's just a simple, just 1 pocket thing. I'm gonna show you how to do that. Use some of the cut aparts. This one, I put a little tag in it, and this one here is one of the cut aparts, and it says, "I'm a crafty girl. I make pretty things. I'll keep making and crafting until my fingers fall off. Then I will grab my adhesive runner, reattach those suckers, and make more pretty things." And that's, you know, we all know that we're like that. Sticker here that says "I heart crafting," and then this is one of the printables that I did find online that was for free. Very, very simple project planner, but I printed out a couple of those, so you can see this is letter size paper. This is a huge project. On this page here, this page set here, I did a double pocket. That's a vertical pocket. So you have a pocket here for smaller, maybe more skinny items, and then you have a big full-size pocket here. And then online, there's all kinds of calendar generators out there. I just generated a calendar from August through December of 2023. So for me, being on the design team, there's deadlines and there's things that I have to turn in at certain times. This is going to help me keep organized with that. If you're a student, a teacher, you know, you could use this. It's amazing, and I just love the big size of it. I'm normally like a happy planner for my like daily planning stuff, because it's a little bit smaller. But you know, sometimes you just need to print out a printout and stick it in here. So there you go. So here's the last of the pages, and then kind of at a last minute thing, I designed this page. So it's a gusseted pocket on both sides, but one is a vertical and the other is a horizontal pocket. So you can tuck papers in here, and you can kind of keep them secret. You could put things like pattern pieces for your projects that you're working on, you know, those kinds of things. Then on the back cover, what I wanted to do was I wanted to put in a pad. So I do a lot of sketching, a lot of notes. I use graph paper a lot. So I got these graph paper pads. So I created a big pocket on the back cover where you could tuck your pad in there. And then I put a pad cover on there. So if you've got notes written down, you don't want anybody to see them quite yet, you can go ahead and you can cover this up. And then the other nice thing about this is that this I left absolutely open so that you could use your post-it notes. So this is like one of the post-it notes I used during the tutorial that I'll show you, which is coming up next. So then you can add notes, you can take notes off, whatever. And then on the front, I have 2 more stacked pockets. But the really nice thing about this is that this will fold to the back of your notebook, so you don't have to have like that third thing. And then the other thing too is if I keep this back here where it goes, then you can, you know, with the 3 rings, you can close it up and then you can use your pad and all that. So this is a pretty versatile project, and I think it has lots of things that you can do with it. I mean, I can totally see, you know, a recipe, you know, book out of this. I can see something for school. I was thinking about like, a, you know, in the wedding papers at Country Craft Creations, wouldn't this be a fantastic wedding planner? Just whatever, and all the different pockets for all the different things that you might want to separate. And, you know, again, you can put letter size paper in here, and there's just all kinds of things. So this is customizable. You can take stuff out, put stuff in, very mix and match. If you want to take this out and craft with it, you know, somewhere else, you don't have to take the whole notebook, but you can just pop this out and, you know, work on it and then pop it back in your notebook, and then everything's in one nice spot. So this is the project. Stay tuned for the tutorial. It's coming up next. Now, I do want to say one thing. My tutorial, I don't know what's my problem today, but I have was kind of butterfingers and kind of tongue-tied a lot, but I got through it, and you're going to get through it too. So I will have all of the dimensions, all of the information down below for you, and links to everything that I talk about. This is going to be a fun project. It is really actually very easy, and I think you'll enjoy it. So have fun, and let's get started with the tutorial. Let's dive into the tutorial. We're going to work on the covers first. Now, I've already prepared the outside of the back cover, and I'm going to show you how I did it with the outside of the front cover, and then we'll work inside the album. I have many different pocket styles in this album. I have many different pieces. You can mix and match, do what you like, add more, add less, whatever you want to do. So this is a totally customizable project for you. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and recreate this. You're going to need a few things. You're going to need a piece of lightweight chipboard that is 10 by 12, which I have right here. You will need cardstock, and I chose to use black for the base pages and all that in my project. These are 2 by 10, and you're going to put them in with the 2 inch at the top and score down the middle at 1. And then these are 2 by 12, and you're going to do the same thing. Put them in the scoreboard with the 2 inch at the top, score all the way down at 1. And then what we're going to do is we're going to double mat it once we get the edges on. And I chose to use this coordinating cardstock that came with this collection, and I cut it 1/4 of an inch shorter. So I usually go 1/8 of an inch, but on this project I did everything 1/4 of an inch shorter. So this will be 9 3/4 by 11 3/4. And then this is another 1/4 of an inch shorter, and this is 9 1/2 by 11 1/2. Okay, so first thing what we're going to do is, and I'm going to double check and make sure that I show you exactly how I did it, which I did. Okay, so you're going to take your 2 by 12 inch pieces, and we scored them already, and then you're just going to fold them down the center. And I didn't get my bone folder out. All right, and you're just going to fold those and burnish them. Okay. And then we're simply going to glue them to the long edge of our chipboard. Okay, this is a pretty easy way of doing this. But we're also conserving cardstock because we're not going to cover the whole thing with cardstock, which is one of the reasons why I decided to like double mat it. That will also give it a little bit more strength. And this you just put it right in there, line it up so that it's even top to bottom. Okay, and we're going to glue that down. Okay, so I'm only doing one side first, gluing one side down first. Okay, and then you'll just simply glue the other side. So I'm just adding my glue. I'm going to put a little on the edge. And I'm going to burnish that down and make sure it's stuck. And it is to go completely to the edges. Okay, so we have one side done. We're going to repeat with the other side. So again, I'm just going to add my glue. And we're just going to line it up right at that crease there, making sure it's lined up top to bottom. And we're going to burnish it down. I'm going to turn it over, make sure it's nice and stuck. And then we're going to do this. Now, if you don't want to go through this piece of the project, you can just cover it front and back with a single sheet, and then you can color the edges of your chipboard if you want to with black Sharpie. You can you know, use distress ink, whatever. I just like the finished edge on this project, on this particular project, so that's why I decided to do it like this. Okay, so we got our sides covered. Now we'll grab our 10-inch pieces. We're going to go ahead again and we're going to fold and burnish, and then we're going to miter these corners a little bit so that it actually kind of really resembles what you would have, you know, the look of the corners if you were to, you know, wrap it. Okay, so I'm just going to miter the edges like that. And then we're simply going to glue those on the same exact way that we glued the other ones on. They will just be mitered instead. Okay, so I'll grab my glue again. The cardstock is the Artisan cardstock in black that I'm using. And then, of course, my trusty art glitter glue, because you just can't go wrong with art glitter glue, right? You could use score tape on this if you wanted to. That would not be a problem with this. Okay, so then we're going to go ahead and wrap this other side. I had fun making this project. I really wanted, I have like lots of notebooks and stuff, and I just really need to consolidate. And then I think, like I said in my, you know, in the project video that's at the beginning of this tutorial where I kind of did a walkthrough, this can be done for multiple things. This could be a, you know, project notebook for crafts, for, you could use it if you, you know, had a household project that you're working on. If you have multiple projects that you're working on, you don't have to, you know, use it for just one project. You could have multiple projects going on and keep all of your papers and your notes and whatever totally, you know, organized. If you're doing some of the retreats from Country Craft Creations, you could use this to keep your retreat notes and instructions separate. You could put, you know, if you're making patterns with a particular project, you know, you have a place for that. So it's just, you could use recipe paper for this project. And Country Craft Creations has a lot of different papers that would be great for like recipe notebooks and stuff. And you could use this for like a recipe keeper. Just all sorts of things. If you use school paper, I mean, this would be really cute for organizing schoolwork for your kids. You know, there's just so many possibilities. But, you know, I personally, this was made because I really wanted to have a all-inclusive project notebook. Okay, because I got a lot of projects that are going on all at the same time. So you can see that they're mitered, and it kind of looks like we did go ahead and just wrap it like normal. So it looks like that on both sides. And then basically all we're going to do for the front cover is we're just going to layer these papers on top. So I'm going to do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have my front and back covers done. So now what we're going to do is we're going to work on the inside. So this one's going to be the front, this one's going to be the back. Make sure you have the orientation right if your paper that you're using has a direction. So this really, it doesn't look like it does, but if you look at the washi tape, it does. So I'm trying to be very careful that I have that in the right spot. So the first page, what I'm going to do is create kind of a slot pocket kind of thing. So my idea came because a while ago I bought this die and I hadn't really used it yet, and I wanted to make sure that I used it. So this is a decorative pocket accents die by Heartfelt Creations. I did buy it through Country Craft Creations. And what it does is it it has 3 different styles for pockets that you can do, and they have slots in them. So you can do like a slot pocket basically, okay? And then it has the 2 pieces where you can cut out of the pattern paper, and then you layer this over the top of that hole, and then you have a nice little slot. So I'm going to show you how to do that. The only problem that I had is the paper that I used was too wide for my old Cuttlebug that I have. So I had to kind of do stuff a little bit sneaky. So what I did was I cut out the piece that I wanted, and this I could run through my die machine just fine. So I used some of the accented papers, but the paper that I wanted to put it on was going to be too wide to run through my machine because it only will take 6 inches. So what I'm going to show you is how to do this by hand, how to make the slot in your pattern paper for your pocket by hand. So what you're going to need is, first of all, you're going to need a pocket to put on the front. This is going to be a side-loading pocket. And if I can find my ruler, what I did was I cut a piece of cardstock that's 7.5 by 9.5. And I have to apologize. I totally forgot to write down my notes that I usually have, and I apologize for that. I have been super uber busy, and I've just been running ragged, and I'm just trying to get caught up. So I really apologize. But all that being said, I'm going to tell you during the tutorial, and then I'm going to also have it in the description down below. So you'll have all of the information. I just didn't write it on my little cards that I usually do. All right, so 7.5 by 9.5. We're going to put it in here. We're going to score at half, and we're going to turn it again and score at half. Okay. All right. And that's going to be our tabs to add it to our cover. I did miter the corners, and then I did round this corner up here. So we're going to just directly glue that down to our cover at this point. So I'm going to just add glue. Now I'm not going to do any tape in this pocket because I'm going to cover it completely with pattern paper because of the nature of the pocket. I have to, because it will be showing out the side, okay? But I'm just doing it one side at a time just so I can make sure I get it lined up nice, okay? All right, and then we're going to put glue on this tab. This project is just so stinking easy to put together. It really is, I swear. And it's really cool. I love the fact that it is so interactive, okay? So this pocket, if we look at the cover, so it'll open like this, it's going to be attached to the left side of your notebook. And then you're going to take a piece of paper, and again, it's cut 1/4 inch less. So it is 9 3/4 by 11 3/4. All right, I'm going to line that up, and then I'm going to sneak glue under here, and I'm just making sure, yeah, I'm doing it right. There's so many great patterns in this paper that I had a hard time choosing, you know, which patterns to put first, and, you know, accent and all that stuff. So you have lots of choices, that's for sure. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to sneak over here and do it over here. And I know that a lot of you can go ahead and just put glue on that paper and slide it under there. I can't do that. I get glue everywhere, and it is just an absolute mess. But I don't need to glue inside the pocket because the pocket itself is going to keep that down. It's not going to come up. So, all right. So we have that. So that's covered. So that was the next step. Now, here's that piece that I was talking about. So this is the pattern paper that I cut to go over the pocket. All right. So I cut this piece here at 6 3/4 by 8 3/4. And then I decided I wanted 3 slot pockets. So I made 3 of the die cuts using this die that I got from Country Craft Creations. Okay, so I used this one. So I cut those 3 out. And then I placed them on here, and I basically put one where these little leaves on the sides here were right at the midline. And then I just measured up and down, and I just centered them. So basically, once I get this done, they'll all be pretty, you know, centered on the page. So then I'll have 3 slot pockets. So let me show you how I did this. So once I figured out where I wanted those to be, then I took my pencil. Okay, so I laid this down, and I already have the lines drawn, but I laid it down. Okay, and I took my pencil, and I just traced that slot. And you can see it is a slot. It's not just a slice, it's a slot. It gives you a little bit more room. And then I took my craft knife, and then I just really carefully cut that out. And I did go a little bit past, you know, like maybe a 1/16-ish or so on the ends here, just to make sure that the base pattern paper didn't show underneath this. And then I'm cutting right outside of that pencil line, and then hoping that, you know, I cut it out a little bit wider so that it doesn't show again. Okay, so I'm just going to slice that. So normally you would run this paper through your die cutting machine, and the slot would be completely cut out for you. But because I can't put this wide of a paper through my machine, I had to do it by hand. But it's super easy to do, as you can see. And then the only other thing is that you have to, you know, be careful with your glue and try to get all the edges here, and then just glue this over the top, and voila, you have a slot pocket ready to go. When we glue this down, we will have to be careful to not, you know, to not glue the pocket shut, because that would be not good. It's not what we want. Okay. So once I get my glue on there, I'm going to line this up with the hole. All right, and I'm going to just lay that down, and then I have my slot pocket. So the cool thing about having these is that it does reinforce the edges here of your pocket, so that, you know, you don't wear out your pockets putting your tags in and out. Which is really super cool. So then on the other side, so there's a couple ways you can do this. So you want to make sure that the area where the pocket is, so let me grab, what can I grab for a tag here real quick? Oh my goodness, I should have thought about that part. Okay, so when you put your tag in, you want to make sure that you don't glue this area right here and right here, and then right down in here. Okay, so we just want to glue the edges so that it actually has a stop. Now, if you want the pocket to be able to go the full length, then you don't have to do any of that. But if you want pockets that will stop at a certain point, you'll have to do that. Just don't glue past this point. You have to glue above the slot. I hope that makes sense. So what I'm going to do is I want all of these pockets to be closed, because my thoughts are business cards. Okay, so if I wanted to use a business card, for example, then they won't, if I put them in up here, they won't fall all the way through the pocket. So I'm going to close them all completely. Okay, so I'm going to grab my glue, and what we're going to do, the top portion here can be glued, and I want to kind of glue towards the edge of that slot so that it closes it up nice and doesn't have an area that can come undone. And then I'm going to glue down the sides. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue right at the bottom, and then I'm going to glue just right at the top of the slots. And that's it. Okay, and I made sure that I put some glue here. And then I'm going to grab my pocket. And carefully lay that down. All right. I love this idea. I just think this is the coolest idea since sliced bread. So you have the backing of your pocket is now going to be the backing of your pattern paper pockets here. So that's pretty cool. So we got this going on. And if we grab like the business card again, then I can show you. So you'll have a pocket here. You'll have a pocket that will stop there. It won't go through. And then you'll have a pocket here. Okay, so that was my thinking with making those. So that, you know, the front of a notebook, you usually have a place to put your business cards. And so then you have this, you know, pocket back here for full-size papers. That's the other reason I made this so big. I wanted it to be able to hold 8.5 by 11-inch papers without any problems whatsoever. Okay, so front is done. Let's look at the back page, or the back cover, excuse me, and we'll talk about the elements that I'm going to put on that. So the back pocket, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make a pocket that will hold a legal pad, or not a legal pad, but, you know, like an 8.5 by 11 hardbacked notepad. So what you're going to need is, you know, your pattern paper to cover. You're going to need a pocket, and then your pattern paper to cover the pockets. So your pocket paper, let me open it up. I tried to get some stuff prepared, but I'm not so sure that's actually saving me any time. Okay, so you're going to have a piece that is 11 inches wide, okay, by 9.5 tall. You're going to put it in your scoreboard at the 11 inch on the top, score it 1/2, and score at 10.5. And then you're going to turn it, and you're going to score the bottom at 1/2. Okay, so that'll give you your tabs for your big pocket. Okay, so we'll put our pattern paper to the side for just a second, and then we're going to go ahead and glue this down. I'm going to just glue the bottom down first. And again, unless you want to save paper, you know, if you want to save paper, do the tape trick and tape the bottom of this. And I will show you what I mean here. I'll just do it. But I'm just going to throw a piece of paper all the way down. So I'm just lining that up right to the edge of my cover. And hopefully I did it right. Yes, I did. I should have checked. I should have checked. So there's that. So if you're going to conserve paper and then just cover a small section up here, then you're going to want to do this tape trick, which is really cool. So grab your cellophane tape, your scotch tape, packing tape, whatever, and you're just going to cover the edge. And with this right here, you'll have to do 2 pieces because you have 2 different edges that we're trying to cover. And what this will do is that, number one, you'll save paper because you won't have a chunk under the pocket that you have to cover. Okay, this whole area under here can be saved for another purpose. The other thing too is that when you put papers and stuff in and out, it won't catch on that edge. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just cover the whole thing. So you don't have to do the tape if you're going to do that. So I'm just going to put glue on my 1/2 inch tabs. Now you notice I did miter them as well. So I got my glue on there, and then I'm just going to fold this over, and they should match your sides completely, like so. Okay. All right. So there's that pocket. I'm going to have my piece of paper, and, you know, I like to do this as well because it will cover up the side tabs too, which is one of my little preferences. So, you know, you don't necessarily have to do that. It's what I usually like to do. All right, so then I'm going to slide that in there, and then I'm going to glue this top down. And again, the bottom will be kept in place by the pocket. Okay, so this is, oh, you know what? Oops, I oopsed. Shoot, I oopsed. I'm going to have to undo this for just a second. Let's see if I can fix this. And that is what this guy comes in handy for, my Cricut tool. I'm going to undo the pocket here. So I can get under there. because I actually did make a cover for this and I totally forgot. Okay, so I'm gonna just loosen that up just a little bit so I can slip that cover underneath. No one's ever gonna know. Don't tell them, okay? Let me find it, I'll be right back. So pardon me, I messed up. Oops, got a little tab there. Okay, so I messed up. Don't put your pockets on yet. What we should have done is put on the cover for our tablet, okay? So I have the papers already cut. And of course I misplaced them, so that's why I forgot to do it. So I'm going to use a piece of paper that is 12 inches tall and it's 10.5 inches wide, okay? 12 inches tall, 10.5 inches wide. You're going to score at 1/2, at 9.5, and at 10, okay? So 10.5 at the top, score at 1/2, 9.5, and 10. 12 inches tall, okay? So then what you're going to do is a couple things here. First, we're going to fold the single scored side. We're going to fold that over, and then we're going to just glue that down, and that's going to help reinforce that edge. So I'm just going to put a little glue here. I apologize for this, you guys. I will put a disclaimer before that part finishes so that if people are following along with me, they will not do it. Okay? Ay, ay, ay. Okay, so that's going to reinforce the edge. What this is going to be, this tab here is going to attach to the back cover, and then it's going to have a 1/2 inch gusset. And this is going to go over the tablet. So if you can imagine your tablet underneath here, this will be a cover for it. But we're going to do a few extra things to this first. So on the front of your cover, so you'll have your folded edges over here, and then you have your 2 1/2 inch scores over here. What we're going to do is we're going to do some stacked pockets. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put our pattern paper over the top. So I just cut my paper and we're going to add it to the top. And again, I cut it at 1/4 inch smaller so it has a nice 1/8 inch border all the way around with the black. I thought that looked really sharp. And I didn't ink any of my papers either. I just didn't feel like I wanted to. I wanted to keep it nice and clean, I think. So I'm just going to lay that down. Okay, like so. Okay, and again, this is front of the tablet cover. All right. And then we're going to grab our elements for our stacked pockets. So for the stacked pockets, oh, and I should give you the measurements for the pattern paper. I'll do that real quick. So 8 3/4 wide by 11 3/4 tall. Okay. So then your stacked pockets, you will need one that's 3 1/2 by 9 1/4 of cardstock, one that's 3 by 9 1/4. And then you're going to need pattern paper, 2 of them that are 2 3/4 by 8. Now I have center at 5/8 for my pocket because I used my envelope punch to cut the notch, and the center point of this entire piece is at 4 5/8. So if you line up this edge to 4 5/8, that will be the center of it. And then the pattern paper to match it, the center is at 4, okay? So that's why I put that there. Okay, so again, you'll need 2 cardstocks, one at 3 1/2 by 9 1/4, one at 3 by 9 1/4, and the center of that is 4 5/8. Then the pattern paper, you need 2. That says 1, you need 2 at 2 3/4 by 8 because you need 1 for each pocket. Okay, and the center for those pattern papers are at 4. So I took my, I'm making a mess. This project is big, so I'm running out of room to put places or put things. Okay, so we're going to put the 3 1/2 by 9 1/4 in the scoreboard. You're going to score it 1/2 at 8 3/4 and then turn it and score it at 1/2, and that's what we're going to make our pocket out of. Now the 3 inch one, you're just going to score at 1/2 and at 8 3/4, because you're only going to make these 2 scores. It's going to be an open pocket for larger things on this one. We're not going to glue that shut. So, and then you're going to grab your punch. Sorry guys, I know I'm kind of, I don't know why I'm so discombobulated today. It's crazy. All right, so then you're going to line this up 4 5/8, and you're going to punch the notch. You're going to put this one in, line it up at 4 5/8, punch the knot, and same thing. Line the pattern papers up at 4, so the edge is at 4, punch your notch. This is totally optional. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. That's fine. Okay, so let's get this out of the way for just a second. So you're going to take your pockets. We're going to fold and burnish our scores. Okay, so this one is the 3-inch one. We just have the 2 sides. And then this side one here, we're going to fold and burnish. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to miter the corners on this one. Okay, and then we'll miter the corners on this one. Okay. All right. Then the next thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to go ahead and cover my pockets with the pattern paper, and I just want to decide which order I want them in. I think I like that better, so I'm going to do it that way because I like it. And then I'm going to glue those down on my pockets. So this one here, I'm going to glue on my bottom pocket, and if you line up the notches, it should come out pretty darn even with a border all the way around. Okay, so then we'll glue this one. Okay. All right. Okay, so now I have my 2 pockets. Now what I'm going to do, and this is a little bit unusual, but this is how I'm going to do this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to layer the top pocket underneath the bottom one just a little bit. I want to make sure that the pattern paper still shows, but I don't have like any of the black showing, you know, with the notch. I just want to make sure. And then what we're going to do is we're going to wrap all of that around. Okay, so I'm going to, it's about a 1/2 inch, I believe, is how far I can go down. So I'm going to grab my pencil if I can find it. And on the back side of this pocket, I'm just going to line my ruler up. And I'm going to draw a line, maybe. If I had lead in my pencil, I will draw a line. If I did a blooper reel, this video would be full of opportunity, that's for sure. So now if I line this up, and I'm going to just double check it and make sure, yeah. So that will make it so that the brown, you know, is showing through the notch of the bottom pocket, so the wood grain there. So then I'm just going to, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this down, I'm going to lay that down, and I'm going to lay that edge over top, and I'm just going to glue that tab to this tab. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little glue here and a little glue here, and I'm just gluing those tabs together, because basically what I'm doing is creating one long tab. Okay, and then we're going to glue all that down as if it was one long tab. Okay, so then I'm going to do the same on the other side. So I'm lining up to my pencil marks. Okay, and I'm going to glue here. Now dry fit this real good before you do this. Make sure that everything fits. Okay. And I know this is a little bit different way of doing it, but I thought it worked pretty good. And it kind of created, you know, like one piece of pocket that I could have and still have a slot here and then a slot that goes all the way down here, okay? And you didn't have anything hindering your sides. So that's what I did. Now, this is a stacked pocket, so I am going to use the tape trick on the bottom, okay? And then I'm just going to put this on the bottom here. So I'm going to glue just the bottom first. And I think I'm going to just line this up. I'm eyeballing it. It is, I don't know, roughly 1/2 inch from the edge of the page. Okay. I'm going to open that up. Okay, and then I am going to use the tape. Okay. So I'm just going to lay that tape right over that tab, okay? And then we're just going to glue those down. Now, here's the other thing. You can use the tape on these tabs too, since they're going to be kind of exposed and, you know, not covered with pattern paper. So what I'm going to do, I cut that a little bit too long, is I'm going to take some tape and do that. I'm going to throw things while I'm at it, because y'all know me, I still have to throw things too. And I'm going to get that tangled up, because I do that too. And I'm just going to make sure I'm in camera here and do that. Okay, and then we can go ahead and glue and then tape that down, and then that'll help guard those edges as well, okay? So we're just going to put glue on that kind of extended tab that we made. And on this one, I'm gonna pinch those and try and keep my tape straight and lay that down like so. Okay. And then you can go in with your bone folder and you can kind of reinforce the sides a little bit, and voila, there you go. So now we have an extended pocket. So this one will go down to the bottom, and this one will also go down to the bottom, so you could put taller papers in there if you wanted to. Okay, so that's the front of your cover for your tablet. And then I'm going to put a piece of, I can't talk today, a piece of pattern paper on the back. And then this I'm leaving plain, no pockets or whatsoever, so that I can use it for sticky notes. Okay, I, as you can see, love my sticky notes. So I'm going to make this so that I have a place to kind of stick them. So I just took one large piece of the pattern paper, and I'm going to center that here. Try and get it nice and straight. All right. And then this goes right over that folded edge on the edge there, so that'll be nice and strong and protected, okay? And then voila, I have places for my sticky notes, okay? So we should have made this first, so we just did that, okay? And then here is our back cover, all right? So that's our back cover. This, the next thing we're gonna need to do is stick it underneath here, okay? Where I had to rip this up because it should have gone in first, and we're going to glue that edge in there. So I need to bring that up just a little bit more. This is where I'm going underneath my pattern paper here, which is really nice. And then we're going to tuck that under there and glue it like so, and it will go the whole length There, like that, I think. What is catching on here? Something's still catching. Oh, there, I see it. There we go. Okay, so that should have been the next step, okay, is gluing that down. So obviously we didn't want to put our pattern paper down, and we didn't want to put this pocket down either, okay? So we wanted to basically put that in that edge. So I'm gonna have to kind of fiddle with this a little bit, and I'm gonna sneak glue in there. And then we're gonna re-glue the pocket and stuff down, okay? But now you know how to fix it, if indeed you catch it in time to fix, right? And I promise I won't edit it out. Okay, so that's right at the edge of our project. And that will go right over a tablet that's in there, and then it has a gusset so that you can cover your tablet. So if you have any secret writing on that tablet you don't want anyone to see, you have that. And then this will also flip around to the back of your book. So when you're writing, if you're like sitting on the couch and you want to kind of just flip it back, you can flip it back as well, okay? So then let's re-glue all of this stuff back down and make it look pretty. And then no one will ever know what I did, right? Because we won't tell, right? Oh my gosh, it's gonna be so hot today. And a little bit later, I'm supposed to go work at the store where, you know, the gift store, and they, unfortunately, their air conditioning is broken. So I'm not sure how long it's gonna last, because it's supposed to get like to 100 today. And being in a storefront with all windows on 2 entire sides, it's gonna get amazingly hot in there. Okay, so that is the back cover, okay? So it should look like that, okay? Got the back cover here, and our front cover will be here, okay? So when you open that up, now we're gonna put all some goodies on the inside. Now some of the goodies I've already taken care of and made. So first, you know, you've already seen the walkthrough. So you know that when we open up our notebook, the very first page you're going to see is this triple pocket, this triple staggered pocket. I did this because papers are different. I use all kinds of different papers. When I have a note that I need to write down, I just grab whatever's available. It could be a full-size page, it could be part-size page, it could be notes. So I wanted a triple pocket thing. And what I try to do, because you guys know I'm symmetrical, is like this is the first page, and then we'll have our last page. So we're going to recreate this page for the last page, and I hope that makes sense. Please, if you haven't watched the walkthrough, please watch the walkthrough, because that will make more sense. And let me show you. So when you open up your notebook, you'll have this, and then the page will turn. And then what you're going to do is you're going to have 2 pockets here that are going to be totally identical, just reversed because of this the page. So we have like a peachy style pocket. Pretty simple. This pocket page here will have a pocket here, and then we'll have a full-size pocket here. And on this one, I did not use pattern paper all the way down, so we will use the tape trick on this. So this will be an identical page. And then we will turn the page and we'll have this, and then we have some more stuff to make too, okay? So what we can do is we'll just start. Here's our first page, so we turn it, here's page 2, it's gonna mimic this. So let's just go ahead and just go in order, and then maybe it won't be so confusing going back and forth, okay? So for this page, you will obviously need pattern paper, and we're going to need one piece of cardstock, which is going to be our pocket, and it's going to be 9.5 by 4.5, and we're going to score in our scoreboard. We're going to put it in here on the 4.5. Now you're going to want to score it opposite, okay? So the pocket will be opening to the right. This one's opening to the left. So we're going to want to score it opposite and make sure that we get it on the right thing. So when you do that, just make sure you do it opposite. But if you mess up, Artisan Cardstock is super forgiving. So on the 9.5, score it a half, turn it on the 4.5, score it a half. Okay, so that's your pocket for this page. And then what you're going to need is you're going to need a piece of paper that's 8 5/8 by 3 3/4. Then what we're going to do is we're going to measure in 3 3/4 at the top, and you're going to make a tick mark, and then you're going to do a pencil line from that tick mark down to the corner. See if I can get it lined up. I'm running out of room, so I'm kind of stacking stuff here. Okay, so we're going to make a pencil mark, and basically we're going to cut that corner off. On the pocket, we're going to do it, but we're going to do it at the 4-inch mark. Okay, so we'll go ahead and mark at 4 inches, and then we're going to cut that corner. Whoop, broke my pencil. Stacking stuff. Here we go. We're going to go from that pencil mark at 4 inches and then to where the score is. Okay, so you want to make sure you don't go through the score. You want to go at the point where the score meets the paper. Okay, so once you get that done, we'll go ahead and we'll cut that corner off. And miter. And I need to find my eraser because I want to make sure my pencil marks are erased. And then we'll take our pattern paper, and again we're going to cut that corner off. So we drew from this corner all the way up, and hopefully I don't mess that up. And then that should lay down perfectly to mat your pocket. Okay, so this was just the piece that came off of the other side. So I just wanted that to kind of show you that's what we're cutting off. Okay, and then we'll go ahead, we can put the pattern paper on our pocket. And I love art glitter glue. It dries really fast, but it also is a little forgiving, so you can nudge things for a few seconds before, you know, it sets, which is really cool. All right, so we got that. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure my pencil marks are erased. Then we're gonna go ahead and fold and burnish our pocket. I told you this is really easy to do. And there's a lot of different options too. If you don't like these kinds of pockets, you don't have to use them. You can use some other kind of pocket if you want. All right, pattern paper for the back. The pattern paper measures 9 1/4 by 11 1/4. And you know what else I forgot to tell you? Oh my God, I can't believe I did this. Your paper for the pages. Oh my goodness, your paper for the pages. They, the paper that you're gonna want to do, it measures 10, I can't believe I didn't do that, by 11 1/2. And then on the 10-inch side, what you're gonna do on each piece is you're gonna just, on one side, you're going to, the side that's gonna be punched, hole punched, you're going to fold it over, you're gonna score it 1/2 inch and fold it over. So the finished piece, oh my God, I can't believe I did this, 9 1/2 by 11 and a half. Okay, so you start with the page that's 10 inches by 11 and a half. Okay, you're gonna score on one side at half, and then you're gonna fold it over and you're going to glue it down, and that's gonna reinforce edges, and it's gonna help us when we punch our holes for our binding. I can't believe I didn't say this. I gotta remember to put that in the notes too. Holy moly, I can't believe it. Okay, so, sorry guys. This is gonna be, and I don't have enough paper to recreate this, so it's just gonna have to stay. It's just gonna have to stay. So let's do our pocket first. I was trying so hard to make this so simple, and I think I just outwitted myself on this one. You know what? I think I did. I totally was trying so hard because I feel I got, you know, lots of projects going on, and which is, you know, one of the reasons why I made this project. Yeah, and I'm just getting ahead of myself. So yeah, okay. All right, so we got this down. There's our pocket. And then we're just gonna slide our pattern paper in there and finish this pocket page, okay? Like so. I'm gonna line that up nice and pretty. Put my glue down. Okay. There we go. Okay. All right. All right. So that's your next page set right there. So then we're going to turn the page and we're going to create this page. So again, there's a big pocket here. There's another pocket here. We are going to use our envelope punch and do that. And then I did use a piece, just a strip of pattern paper, or you know, the solid coordinating paper to put in the pocket. So it's not going to go all the way in because that's a lot of paper. So I just was like, I'm going to use the strips. So let's work on that. So let me get my page, and this is where I'm actually going to show you how to do that page. So I'm going to get the back part of it off. Okay. And you will need a few things. So let me show you how to make the page. I'm going to show you how to do that because I actually have one to show you. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. Kind of crazy, huh? Okay. So you have your page, like I told you, that is 10 by 11 and a half. Now I'm going to put it in my scoreboard. I'm going to score it at 1/2. And I'm not going to miter. I am just going to fold it, burnish it, and glue it down, okay? And this is going to reinforce that edge where I'm going to punch holes for the binding of this notebook. Okay. So that will be there. We're going to put the holes here. So then the other thing I need to do is just make sure when we put our pockets down, you'll see there's a 1/2 inch space here. I'm going to make sure that I put it a 1/2 inch in here when I put the pockets on. So next thing we will need is our big pocket. For our large pocket, you're going to need a piece of paper that measures 9 by 12. And what you're going to do is you're going to score on the 9 at 1/2 and then turn it. And on one end, doesn't really matter which end, score at 1/2. And then what we're going to do is add a hinge to it because we need something bigger, you know, than 12 inches to do this. So we're going to have to add a hinge for this, okay? So this hinge is 1 by 8.5, and you're going to just score it at 1/2, okay? So move this out of the way for just a second. So we have our page, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the hinge at the bottom. So if you notice on our pockets, so the pockets are opening towards the left. So we're going to have our pockets open to the right. We've got our page here. Our bottom half-inch score is going to be the bottom of the pocket, and we're going to put the hinge on the bottom. It'll just kind of camouflage it just a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to fold this, and we're just going to add this to the other end. Just turning it so I can see. I'm just going to add that to the back. This is going to be the back side of our pocket, okay? And it should go to the score line of the bottom, okay? So basically all we're doing is extending that tab so that we can have a bigger page. Okay, so I'm just going to fold and burnish the rest of my score lines. This is just going to be a big pocket. Okay, and then so I went through, and in between the score lines I found the center, and for here it was the center is 5 3/4 from either side, and I just put a pencil mark because I'm going to go ahead and line this up to the best of my ability in the center of my envelope punch board, and then I'm going to punch it. Okay, then while we got the punch board out, I have my pattern paper that will go here, and I've done the same thing. I've made a tick mark right there where the center is, so I just put my centering ruler on here, and I found the center. So for this it would be 5 5/8 from the center to the edges, and making sure that the orientation of my paper is right, I'm going to center that in there to the best of my ability, and I'm going to punch. Okay, all right, so we have the pattern paper for that. And where's my eraser? I'll go ahead and erase my pencil marks like that. Okay, so let's take our scissors, a little miter, and miter the corners, and miter those corners. So it looks like I had a bigger piece of paper. It just totally kind of makes it the size I needed, so that was good, right? We're going to go ahead and put this down, and we're going to do the tape trick in the bottom of this pocket. If you want, you can do this 2 different ways. You can either take your ruler and you can take your pencil and you can mark a 1/2-inch space and then glue your pocket, leaving that 1/2-inch space just like I did here, and that's going to help with the holes, and it's not going to be like so super thick with the pockets, okay? Or on this particular page, you can turn it over. You already have the 1/2-inch edge because of the folding of the paper to kind of reinforce that whole area. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do that. Line that up right to the edge of that score line. Okay, where that tab folds over. Does that make sense? Okay. And I know this is black paper, so before everybody starts yelling at me, I know that it's black paper. I know, it's harder to see. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right, so there's that. And then we're going to grab our tape. And I'm going to go ahead and put tape over that edge. Okay. And then we can go ahead and glue the sides down. And this project is big. I'm sorry. It is big. It used almost all of the paper that I got. I don't have very much left, that's for sure. And because it's big, it's taking up a lot of room on my desk. And I know I'm trying not to get out of camera. So yeah. But it's gonna be so cool when it's done. All right, like so. All right, so we have our pocket. Okay, so the folded edge is here. We butted it up right to that. The next pocket that we're going to use, and this one I didn't punch with a tab. It's going to be 12 inches by 4.5. On the 4.5, score it half. Turn on the 12 on one side only, score it half, okay? Because we're going to use another hinge to close that pocket, okay? So we're just going to do the same thing we did before with this one. We're going to add it to the side that we did not score, okay? The other thing I have to apologize to is one of my lights for my video taping just went belly up, and I need to go buy another one, and the place where I bought them don't carry them anymore, so I need to find a really good light. So I apologize for that if it's a little bit dark. Yeah, wasn't happy with that at all. Mitering my corners here. Okay. And then we're gonna fold and burnish our pocket tabs, and then we're just gonna layer this on and then cover with pattern paper. And this one, the pattern paper that we cut for the other pocket will go all the way down, so we don't have to do the little tape thing, okay? But this pocket will just layer right on top of that pocket right to the bottom, okay? I'm just layering that on top. I'm wiping up extra glue because I don't want it to glue where I don't want it to, you know. All right. And then this pocket here. Okay. Like so. Okay, so we have our piece of paper that we cut that will go all the way down, cover the tabs of that pocket. We have that. We have our piece of pattern paper that will go here. And then I have my little strip that I had extra pieces of that I'm going to just slide in there, and then that will close that. So I'm going to glue that down. I'll be right back. Okay, ta-da! I got the pockets done, so we're good to go with this. So far we have our triple staggered pocket here. We have our peachy style pocket here, and then we have our two side pockets here. So that's really pretty. So now let's finish. Let's show you how to make the triple pockets that go on the back of this page. So for that, we need a few things. We have our pattern papers. We have our pockets. So our pockets here, let me get my measurements out so I can tell you. All right, so our staggered pockets. So you'll need one piece that's 9 by 10. So 9 wide by 10 tall. You need one piece that is 8 by 8. And you need one piece that's 7 by 6. And I did this so that they staggered 1 inch in from the sides and then 2 inches from the top. So that's why they're sized like that. Okay, so when you put them together, make sure you have that right thing. So the first one is 7 wide, 6 tall. The second one, and I know it's hard to see, is 8 by 8, and the third one is 9 wide by 10 tall. And we're going to put them all in our scoreboard. You're going to score them all the same way. So put them in width-wise, okay? So the width measurement up at the top, okay? So this one is the 7 by 6. Score it at 1/2, and then turn it clockwise, score it at half for this pocket. Now you got to remember that this is going to be opposite for the other side, okay? So just start with your, width you'll score it on one side, score it on the other side for the other pocket. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. Just make sure you reverse them, okay? So this one here will be opening to the left. This one here is going to open to the right, okay? So we're going to score them all the same. And then, before we go any further with this, I think what we'll do is we'll do all the mitering and the cutting and, or the mitering and the burnishing and the patterning before we put them in our pockets. I did use my corner rounder and I rounded my corners. I use the corner rounder by We Are Memory Keepers. I love this thing. It is available at Country Craft Creations. If you don't have it, it has 3 different sizes of corners, and I love this thing. It's really, really nice. Okay, so we have our paper scored. Okay. We'll go ahead and burnish. And then I have my pattern papers cut to fit. So I cut my pattern papers. So for the larger pocket, I cut my pattern paper at, I'll give you the measurements here, 8 1/4. And again, I'll have this all down below by 9 1/4. For the second pocket here, the pattern paper is 7 1/4 by 7 1/4. And then for my little pocket, it is 6 1/4 wide by 5 1/4 tall. Okay. I'm forgetting myself again. We have to stack them first. Okay. Oh my gosh, you guys, I haven't slept. I know I say that probably every time, don't I? We have an elderly dog who keeps us up. And then this weekend, my husband had a gig and we were up really late and then didn't get a lot of sleep. And yeah, I'm trying to get caught up. It's not working. Okay, so I just layered that pocket onto the bigger pocket, okay, with that bottom tab. The pattern paper is going to go all the way down because of the nature of the pocket. It's going to show on the top and the sides, okay? So I'm not going to use the tape. And I'm just going to glue that down. Okay. And then I found it easier to go ahead and put the bottom piece of paper in right now before we continue on. So I'm just going to tuck that in there. Okay. Nudge that down just a little bit. There we go. Okay. My desk is getting a mess too. All right. So then we'll layer, the next thing we'll do is layer the smaller pocket on. Same process, so do the bottom. You can do the side first, doesn't matter. I don't know, I got in a habit of doing the bottom because of the tape thing, right? So we're just stacking it right to the edges on the side, okay, and the bottom. Just right to the edge, okay. There we go. A little glue there. So when I saw this paper, yeah, totally, this is exactly, I mean, the first thought that came to my brain was I need to make an organizer with it, just because of the nature of the paper, right? So, no, this page. Okay, so this page will tuck in here, and we're going to go ahead and glue that down. So same process, and then we'll glue the other one down, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I have the papers on my stacked pocket. Here is the back of the page we just made. So we're going to flip it over like we're turning our book. And this is where we're going to stick that pocket. Okay, so binding edges on this side here. So we're just going to attach it and then attach our pattern paper underneath. And then this is good to go. Like so. Isn't this neat? I just think this is the coolest thing. I am going to really love using it, that's for sure. And especially since, you know, I've got a lot of projects coming up in different things. You know, I could use different sections for different projects and keep everything in one place, and it won't be scattered. And, you know, there's just, I got some other things that I did. I mean, this thing could be as full or as, you know, simple as you want it to be, that's for sure. All right, so put the glue in there. Ah! Throw it around too, because that's always good. Come on, Michelle. There we go. There we go. So you guys are seeing me in rare form today. I'll tell you what. Yikes. All right. All right. That's done. Okay. So we have our notebook here. And this is how it's going to look when we put it all together. Okay. So let's go through real quick. So we're going to have our cover, our slot pockets, our first set of staggered pockets. It will open up peachy style. We have our side pockets here. We have our other staggered pockets. And then we have our tablet cover here and our tablet piece here, which we still need to put our pattern paper on. And that's okay. So this particular piece here, let me measure it for you, is 9 3/4 wide by 8 3/4 tall. So we'll go ahead and add that. And then that's where our tablet will tuck. The back of the tablet will tuck. Or you could just use it for another pocket for secret papers. However you want to do it. You don't have to do, you can do whatever you want, because it's your project. Okay, so we'll put that back down there. And I opted not to do a tab on this one because for me, I'm going to have this covered up with a tablet. So, okay. There's that. All right. There we go. Okay. So that's how we're going to do that. Now, punching the holes. Easy peasy. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Let me grab the stuff that we need for this. So I decided I'm going to put eyelets in. Okay, I decided I'm going to put eyelets in the covers only and leave the pages alone, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to just we have to kind of do this one page at a time. You're going to need your crocodile. okay, or some other form of heavy duty hole punch, okay? And then all I did was I also have envisioned that I'm going to be putting filler paper in here. So I got my handy dandy piece of graph paper with holes in it, okay? So I folded it to kind of thicken it up a little bit, and then punched the holes, because the holes in the paper are actually way bigger than my eyelets, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to center this, and I'll grab my centering ruler because that will help. And then I'm going to mark where I need to punch my holes, okay? So the center is right there. So that's 5.5 on each side. So I'm going to just make sure there. And then find my pencil where I buried it. Make sure that's right again, okay? Draw my holes. Okay. And then I'm going to punch and set eyelets. Don't you love it when the nubbins of your holes get stuck in your crocodile and you can't get them out? All right, so I'm going to punch my holes, set my eyelets, and then I have my book rings that I'm going to use to put this project all together. And that's the beauty of the book rings, is that you can get bigger ones, you can use smaller ones, depending on how many pages you have. You can take stuff out, put stuff in. It's totally customizable and not limited in what you can do with it. So you can buy book rings that are ginormous, okay? So I set my eyelets in that. So that's basically what we're going to do. So for the pages, I'm going to go through the same process, but I'm not going to set eyelets. I'm just going to punch the holes. And that's one of the reasons why we did that 1/2 inch and folded it over on our pages to reinforce it. So I am going to put this together, and then I will be back and I'll show you what it looks like with all the binding holes in it. And then I've got a couple other little things that we're going to make because I had some other ideas. So I'll be back in a little bit and we'll reconvene. I'm back and I've put everything together that we've got made so far. Of course, I haven't done decorations yet, but you already saw that anyway. Here's my book. So this is my front cover, and you open it up and you have this nice pocket. So we'll just flip through here real quick, but this is how it all puts together. And isn't this, I think this has turned out super awesome. I love this. Here's your pocket back here, and check it out. I put this giant notepad back here, and it just fits over there just perfect. It just works out great. So then what I was talking about is if you wanted to work on your notepad, you could just flip this to the back, and boom, you got your notepad that you can write on. So this is awesome. So let me show you. So this is my organizer, my project planner organizer. And I do have a couple other things that I had ideas about. So I was thinking about what if, and this looks like a lot of stuff, but what if we wanted to have some secret places to put some things. So I decided to create a pocket page that had like, like a gusseted pocket kind of thing. So the first style, we're going to do 2 different styles here, and we're going to grab a piece of paper that is 10 by 12, and you're going to simply score it at 1/2. So this is your base page here, just like the other base pages that we've made. And I'm going to make a bunch of noise here while I do this. And then we're going to fold and burnish. And we're going to glue this down because this will be the edge that we're going to punch holes. Now these are additions to the notebook. These are just extras that I thought of afterwards. So this is just like if you wanted to make some of these instead of some of the other ones, you could do that too, okay? So this is kind of, in addition, this is a bonus, bonus project. Okay, So here's your page, punched edge here. This is going to be the front. So we're going to do a side pocket that has a, bottom pocket that has a gusset on it. So again, we're going to grab our scoreboard, and I used a piece of paper that's 12 wide by 9 tall, and you're going to score at half, at 1, and at half, or half, 1, 1.5, and then you're going to go to 10.5, 11, and 11.5, okay? And then you're going to turn it, you're going to score at half, and then we're going to, I notch punched the middle, so I just measured in between the two closest score lines, figured out the center, drew my tick mark, and then put it in my envelope punch board. So that's how I did that. And then, so what we're gonna do is, let's get our page out of the way real quick. We're gonna fold our score lines, and we'll miter everything so it'll be all nice and pretty. And this is just going to make a nice gusseted pocket. You know, actually I probably should miter first and then do that. So we're going to miter the bottom. Ay, my air conditioning is not going to keep up today. It is hot, and I know everybody else has been hot too, and we're just finally getting it. And I'm from, you know, Oregon, where I don't do hot. I like rain and cool and, you know, 60s and, you know, there. So, all right. So we're going to do this and fold this up. Okay. And we're going to accordion fold this. This is going to be our, you know, gusseted pocket. All right. Make sure that all of that is tucked in nice and straight. All right, and then once you get that done, then we're going to just glue the bottom shut. I'm going to put a little dab of glue here. And then I'm going to grab my clips. My dog is going to start whining at me any second. I can tell he's revving up. And I really, let's see. Or maybe he's just turning over. I don't know. I'm going to check on him. Hold on. So that's the pocket. We'll let that sit for just a minute. And then the top flap is going to be 9 wide by 7. And on the 7-inch side, we're going to score at half and at 3/4. Okay, that's going to give us a 1/4 inch gusset. Oh, there he goes. All right, I'll be back. Okay, so we'll go ahead and fold and burnish this and get that ready to go. And I'm going to miter that 1/2 inch. Okay, so then what we're going to do is it's going to have a tie closure. So on the front of my flap here, I'm going to grab my score tape, and if I can find the end of it, there it is. There it is. And my centering ruler, where I hid that from myself. All right, and let's see here. So I did round the corners too, so it makes it hard to line it up really good, but it's about 4.5 inches from the center because it's 9 wide. So I'm going to put a little piece of my tape here, and I got my seam binding ready to go. So I cut it at about 14 inches. Anywhere from 12 to 14, depending on how big of a bow you want, that's for sure. Okay, and then I have my pattern papers all ready to go. So I'm going to use this, and let's see, what am I going to use? I'm going to use this and that. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go ahead And this little washi tape paper here, it's really, really cute. And I had some leftovers, and so I actually cut it out and put sticky tape on the back, you know, my score tape on the back, and then made like little pieces so I could use it for decorations. I'll have to show you. I'll show you in a minute. Okay, so there's that. Okay, so there's the cover for that. And then on the back side, I think I'm going to do that because it's not going to clash with the flowers that I want to put on the front of the pocket. Okay. All right. So there's that. Now my trim that up a little bit. The pattern paper for the flap is 8 3/4 by 6. Okay, so there's my flap. All right, so then let's grab, here's my pocket, and I've already taken care of cutting my pattern paper and punching it for that. Again, I centered it, use my centering ruler to find the center, tick mark, punch with the envelope punch board, and then I cut this at 8 3/4 wide by 8 1/4 tall, and that's going to go on the front pocket. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on my pocket. Like so. All right. There we go. I'm getting glue all over me. Okay, so there's my bottom pocket. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is grab your page, and here's my reinforced edge, so it's on the left. This is going to just center right to the corner, or not center, it's going to go right to the edge of my page. So we have a 1/2 inch border here, and that's where we're going to punch, and then the pocket flap will go here. And then I'm not going, actually I probably should, because there's going to be a thing there, isn't there? So I'm going to have to cut another piece of paper. If I have another piece of paper, we'll have to find out. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my tape, and I should have probably done this earlier, but you can always do it now. Put your tape on the bottom there, because we're gonna try and make it easy to put our papers in and out. Okay, I'm gonna put my glue here. Oh, no, I'm not. Yeah, I am. We got to do something really super fast before the glue dries. And I know you all are screaming at me too. Closure! I'm trying to get done. I got so many things to do today, and I can't. I just need to slow down, but I can't do it. Okay, so got to save a 1/2 inch over here. Okay, so I'm lining it up. It's going to be 4 1/2 from the center is where I'm going to put my score tape. So 4 1/2 inches from the right edge. And I'm going to go ahead and put my score tape down here at the bottom before I add my pocket. Okay, and then I'm going to add my pocket, and it's going to go to the right edge and to the bottom. Okay, like so. This is just another added insert that you could make if you wanted to for your book. All right. So then you can see this will go down and then you can tie this here. So we're going to go ahead and glue here. And this is going to line up at the top edge and to the right. And we're going to leave that 1/2 inch on the side. We're punching holes. Okay. Like so. And then this is where I need to put a piece of paper because I didn't think about that. 8 3/4. So that should tuck inside really nice, and that would be good. So let me grab my cutter. 8 3/4. I didn't have much paper left over. That is for sure from this project. I used almost all of it. So we're going to tuck that in our pocket and match it up and glue that down. Put glue way over. There we go. Good thing our glitter glue dries clear, huh? Okay, so there's that pocket, and then that will just tie in a nice little bow, and then you can store secret papers in there and have a nice gusseted pocket, and there's going to be a lot of room. So then on the other side, we're going to do the same kind of thing, except we're going to make it a sideways pocket, okay? So bear with me here. So we've got, put this out of the way for a second. And this is 12 by 7.5. And you're going to score at 1/2 inch. Is that right? Yes, that is right. Okay. And so you're going to score at 1/2 inch, and then you're going to find your center, which is 6 inches, and you're going to punch your notch. Okay. We're going to make 2 gusseted pieces to attach to our pocket because we it's tall, it's 12 inches, and that's the max of our paper. So you're going to have a piece that's 2 by 7, and I cut it just shy of 7, and you're going to score it 1/2, 1, and 1.5. Okay, so you'll need 2 of those. And then for the flap, you will need a piece that's 12 by 4.5. You're going to score it 1/2 and at 3/4. Okay, so get our pieces prepared, and I am going to have to find another piece of patterned paper because I totally spaced that part. We're going to miter that and fold it. Okay, and then for your gusset pieces, you're just going to accordion fold them or concertina fold, however, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to use those to attach. So we're just going to fold back and forth. Okay. And then I'm going to miter one side. The side that I don't miter is going to actually attach to the back of the pocket. So we got our pocket here. I'm going to fold that up and burnish. Okay, and then on the back side, we're going to take our glue on the unmitered piece here, and we're going to fold that down and glue that down, just like that. Not get glue in your pocket. You don't want to glue your pocket shut, gee whiz. Okay. do it a different way. Okay, there we go. All right, so what that does is it basically extended that page so we can have a bigger gusseted pocket, right? Okay, so we're gonna close it like we had done before, okay? Like so. Grab our pins or clamps. Oops. And glue that down. We're just repeating the process, but we're making a sideways pocket instead of a top and bottom pocket. That's all we're doing. Okay, so we got that gluing shut. We've got this ready to go. So let's go ahead and again, we're going to do our score tape and we're going to cover our flap. So what I'm going to do is, since we kind of already did this, it's just a different size, I'm going to speed this up and then I'll come back. So the page is finished. You watched me put this one together, and it's just a great big gusseted pocket that you could put, you know, letter size papers in. So that's pretty cool. And if you have stuff that you want to, you know, save, if you need to make sure that if there's little pieces that might be floating around, whatever, turn it over, another gusseted pocket. So this is how this one turned out. I did cut an extra piece of paper here and put that in there, and I just think it turned out really cute. So I punched the holes, and again, I centered them using my little guide that I made. And the reason, again, why I did that is because if I wanted to add, you know, letter paper into the project, you totally can, you know, filler paper, whatever. So then I'm going to grab my book, and this is a 12 by 12 page. I thought it would go in the back like so. So then you just simply open up your rings and you can add it in your book. So this is what I mean by, you know, this is like totally customizable. You know, a totally customizable project. You can do this super simple. You make it as big or as little as you want. So there you go. So now you have this big pocket there. So that's another thing that you can do with this book. All right, the last thing I'm going to show you is this. So y'all have seen magazine holders before, I'm sure. So they're plastic pieces that you can stick in a 3-ring binder, and then you can add a magazine to it. So you just thread this through, kind of like, you know, the elastic for a travel journal. And so I made one of these. I'm going to show you how to make one real quick. It's pretty simple to do. It's very thick on this side for the holes to hold the support of the magazine, or the notebook, I should say. And then you've got the slot here to slide your magazine in. So what I did was, your magazine or your notebook. So what I did was, I have this is just a plain white sketchbook. Okay. I've had this in my stash for a long time. And I just took some of the scraps that I had left over, and I'm just going to create a simple cover. And I just used scraps to piece this together. So I just did that. So we'll have kind of our notebook ready to go to put in there. And I'll show you how it threads through, and then we'll go ahead and make one. I probably should have just covered that. You don't need to see me cover it, but you know, you can put, as long as your notebook fits the slot, you can put anything you want in there. You can make one, you can buy one. And this is just, like I said, just a sketchbook that I've had in my stash for a long time, but I thought, wow, this is perfect. I can add this to, you know, my creation. So I can already tell I need bigger rings if I keep all of the things in here that I have made. So for this little notebook holder or magazine holder, grab your scoreboard and grab a piece of artisan cardstock, and we're going to make this kind of thick because you really need to have it sturdy. So this is 5 by 12. We're going to score at 1 1/4, 2 1/2, 3 3/4. Okay, and then I'm going to use 2 strips of scrap papers left over to just kind of, you know, make it pretty. And so once you score this, what we're going to do is we're going to fold in on the ends. Okay. And then we're going to fold in again. And you might need to trim a wee bit off, maybe. But I did want it to be kind of sandwiched, and I wanted the edges to be folded. Okay, so if you do need to trim off a sliver to make that happen, but now it's nice and rounded on both sides, even though those two are, you know, put together. Okay, then we're just going to glue everything shut. So I'm going to put glue on the inside here. Okay, so I'm just folding the two outer scores to the inside, to the middle. Okay, and then I'm going to just glue these two together. This is going to make this nice and sturdy to support the weight of a notebook, okay? And I can't even tell you, I think I found those notebooks at Goodwill. I mean, it's just been, it was a random thing that I found. And, you know, I was like, oh yeah, I definitely could use those. So I picked them up. I've used a couple for different things. I may turn one into a calendar. I've got a project in the works using one of them that I want to show you. But anyways, that's what you're going to have. Okay. So then what we're going to do is you're going to grab your ruler. And so like on this one, I measured in 1/4 of an inch from the kind of the double folded end here where the two pieces meet. And then I measured another 1/4 of an inch. So we're going to cut out basically 1/4 of an inch slot, and that's going to give us a 3/4 of an inch piece to put our holes. So for this double side here, I'm going to turn it so I can see it. And I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to try to line that up. I wonder if it'd be easier to do it on this side. This ruler sometimes is hard for me to see. 1/4 of an inch. Okay. And I'm just going to draw a line. And then I'm going to go up another 1/4 of an inch, so at 1/2 an inch. And we're going to draw another line. Okay. And then this is going to be, the slot is actually about 11 1/4 inch wide. So we're going to go in about 3/8 of an inch. And that's where we're going to kind of stop. So 3/8 of an inch at that 1/4 inch mark. Okay. So can you see that there? So if you look, there's a 1/4 of an inch here and the 1/4 of an inch slot. And then we measured 3/8 of an inch from here. And that's where we're going to cut it out. Okay. And then that leaves us a 3/4 inch space here for our holes, for our rings. Okay. So we're going to do it on the other side as well. 3/8 of an inch, draw a line. Okay. And then grab your cutting mat. And depending on the tool of your choice, this may take a little bit. So I'm going to turn off not have a whole bunch of noise here, and I'm going to speed this up, and then you'll see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to use my ruler. I'm going to try and line this up again. And I'm actually going to use my other ruler. Is that going to work? I can see through this one better. And this is, I know this isn't the cutting edge, but that's not going to work either. How did I do this before and see everything so well? All right. All right. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to start slicing. Try not to go past your 3/8 inch mark. Okay. So there's that. I'm going to just get it started. So I've cut that out, and I'm just going to discard that piece because I don't need it. I'm going to erase my lines. Okay. And then I'm going to grab my pattern paper here, and we'll put that down and get that nice and centered. So I cut it at 1/2 inch by 11 3/4. Okay. And put that down on each side. That's just going to make the whole, you know, the binding piece pretty. And you technically don't even have to do this if you don't want to. I just felt like it. All right, like that. Okay. It'll make it nice and sturdy too, so. Okay. And now we'll grab our little guide here. Okay. And our ruler, line everything up, get everything centered. There we go. Draw little holes. There we go. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and punch those out. The nubbins keep sticking. It's making me crazy. And I can't see that one. Picked the wrong color paper for pencil mark, didn't I? Okay, so then we'll go ahead and erase anything that might be left over. There we go. And then, so you have your thing. So then you just go to the center of your notebook, okay, and thread it through. Like so, and voila, then you can grab your book and you can add it into your book. So I'm going to grab my book and I'm going to open it. Like so. All right. So this is my, I guess it's a mega-sized project planner organizer. We have all kinds of fun stuff in here. Let me get some of this out of the way so you can see. And, you know, you have your cover. I am going to have to put bigger rings in, so, yeah, you might want to do that. But it all depends on how much stuff you put in here, too. I added some extra stuff just because I kept getting ideas. So we have our slot pockets. And, again, the slot pockets here are great for, like, business cards and things like that. And then you've got a full-size pocket. I want to show you, these are right here. So I got these from Country Craft Creations, and if you're a member of Scrapbookers of Country Craft Creations, you'll be able to access these files. So I have the name of that for you, but if you're in that group, you'll be able to get this. So Tamara did this a long time ago. Well, not a long time ago, about a year ago. And she has project pages. She has, let's see, there's project pages. There's swap information, daily plans, daily tasks, a menu planner with this one here, daily view, and all kinds of fun stuff. So you can print these out. I mean, this will show you how big this notebook is. This regular printed out papers. I did find these on the internet as well. It's another type of project planner. And for this one, for example, I just, you know, decided, let's do it on a different page, but I decided to add, you know, holes to it. And this will show you how easy it is to go ahead and just add, you know, filler paper or printouts. I'll have a link to that file for you if you are not a member of Scrapbookers and don't have the other one. I also went ahead and printed out calendar pages. So, I mean, there's all kinds of things that you can do with this. So, but look at, you got your notebook here and you got your sketchbook. You can take it out to work on it. You can leave it in your notebook to work on it. It's totally, you know, customizable. You've got your pockets here for storing things. Again, you're able to put filler papers and printer, you know, copies and stuff like that in here. You could sort one project, you could sort 12 projects. And it just depends on how, you know, what you want to do with it. You got your notepad back here. It's just a great project. So anyway, this is my Let's Create project planner. This is a design team project for Country Craft Creations. I'm going to finish decorating this. You have already seen the final result. Thank you for watching. I will have all of the information for all the cutting and everything in the description. So don't worry. I know this tutorial was a little bit discombobulated because I was a little bit off today. I'm not sure what my problem is, but thanks for putting up with me and hanging in with me. And I'll have all the information for you so you can make your own. But anyway, I just think this is a wonderful project, and I'm glad that you were here to watch me put it together. So thanks for watching. Check out Country Craft Creations at countrycraftcreations.com. Check out Echo Park's Let's Create Papers, and go have some fun making a project planner for yourself. Thanks, and I will see you again soon with another tutorial. Bye-bye.